This message I spoke at our last MAP talk, and it's such a powerful message for you and I that I really felt it was necessary just to bring us back to the 4 truths about you. I say they're truths because it's been such a revolutionary or revelational message to me, and I trust it's going to be for you as well. The first truth is this: you are present today. You are here in physical form. And when I say you are here in physical form, I'm sure you've experienced the fact that you have a body. And that you feel like you're not your body, like your body is something and you kind of there. In fact, when they bury you one day, they talk about burying the body. They don't talk about burying the person. There's an understanding that there are 2 separate entities over here. There's a third as well, but just to clarify that. The fact that you are here this morning, that you are present on this earth right now, means that you have a mandate. There was a start date and there will be an end date. That is your mandate. Ladies, it's your mandate. When we give somebody a mandate, we give them a timeline for that mandate, don't we? We're very clear, I think, in the military. There's certain issues that are given, instructions issued out there. Malcolm, Minard, I see all the... Why have we got so many military people here this morning? 3 at least. When I look at the mandate, there's a start and an end. There's a deadline. In fact, when they finally lay you to rest, on your tombstone will be the evidence that you were here for a period of time. There's a mandate that you and I have. We don't need to go and look for it. We already have it. Our evidence, it doesn't matter whether the person is doing something that looks menial or whether they're doing something that looks important. Incidentally, that's dealing with a different world system anyway. It doesn't matter who a person is. If they are here present and they're breathing, they have a mandate. And that mandate does not come from man. The second thing that you need to understand, the second truth of the 4, is that you are anointed. You have a unique set of gifts that no one else has. You can only do what you do well. It comes naturally to you. Nobody needs to tell you how to do something that you are gifted to do. They recognize it. In certain circles, they will say things like this: wow, that person is anointed. What does it mean? It means that they seem to be supernaturally able to do certain things. It just comes totally natural to them. But you see, there's a world system that says unless it is difficult, it has no value. And so what do you and I do? We spend 12 years at school trying to learn things that are exactly in the opposite direction of our gift and talent, because we want to find that thing which is really difficult to do, that no one else can do, because in that is value. Why do we have this perception? Well, quite naturally, if there's something that you can't do, you will be prepared to pay someone else to do it. And what's interesting is then we kind of become a bit confused. We think that because the things that we can do have no value, because we're only paying for the things we can't do. But when it comes to God's plan and His mandate, it works in a similar way to the way you and I mandate people. When we mandate somebody to do something, we choose the best person for the job. We don't go and pick out the worst person. We pick out the best person for the job. So if God has mandated you, He has picked the very best person. In other words, the person with the gifts and the talents that are properly set up, ready to execute the mandate. Any effort that you and I make to acquire a skill that is not our gift and talent is moving away from your mandate. It's putting you into a place where you're going to have a life of unfulfillment, a meaningless life. A start date and an end date which is separated by a dash, and that's it. I'm talking to people here this morning that are looking at me with big questions, because you've been sitting and spending your entire life worrying about the things that you can't do, the things that you don't have the skill to. Maybe you've even invested in an MBA so that you can just be better than the next person. Your gift is your MBA. You don't need to go and acquire something else. When you mandate somebody, you provision them. In other words, everything that the person requires to execute the mandate is provided by the organization that has mandated them. So it's very easy to conclude that if God found it necessary to put you and I on this planet for such a time as this, and He's anointed us with special gifts and talents to meet a need which preceded our creation, then it's obvious that He will provide for that mandate. But to access the provision, you've got to understand that He doesn't want to burden you. His yoke is easy. His load is light. I've got it wrong, but you understand what I'm saying. His burden is light. His yoke is easy. Yeah, if you're born to execute something that has global impact, He doesn't pop you out from Dear Mother with all the provision. That's going to be a very long and painful process. It's painful enough just getting you out. So what does He do? He places the provision all along the journey. And He says, although you can't see it with your physical eye, I've given you the ability to imagine so that you can see the end picture. All you have to do is listen to your heart. You can see the end picture, and that end picture is supposed to generate within you the ability to step out in faith into an unknown future for others, but a future that's certain to you. And because it is certain to you, because you've seen the vision, you're able to step in faith, and as you do, the resources that are necessary at the point that they are needed present themselves. So right now, today, I mean, right this minute, something could be happening that you're completely unaware of, that is bringing an answer to a step of faith that you've taken. And you might be sitting here wondering, how am I going to do whatever it is I'm going to do? Yet it's being answered right now. Right this second. Imagine that. You see, that's what provisioning is. All the resources necessary. But those people who sit and want to provide for themselves, because the world says, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I've got to do it. I've got to provide. In fact, if there's a male inside the house, you've been conditioned that you are the breadwinner. You've got to bring in whatever. And you are a failure if you don't do that. Where God says, hey, I'm your provider. I'm your source. Just step in faith and see how I can work. Don't worry about the shelter. Don't worry about the food. Don't worry about the clothes. I've got that taken care of. You see, those are the only things that we need. We're striving for all this other baggage that we're carrying along in life. We don't need that. The basic things that we need is food on the plate, a shelter. And man, I've seen these guys living in Alaska, snow everywhere. And all he has is an axe. And he goes and sorts himself out with a shelter, just like that. And yeah, we're sitting here, and the bigger, the better. And we're dying every month just to try and meet the monthly, what do they call it? Bond. You know that bondage that you have? We're trying to do that. And we think that's normal. We even put our kids onto the same program. buy a house as soon as you can, indebt yourself for life. I did it, you should do it. I think we should have a different approach. And then the last letter over here, the letter D, is this: you are destined. Destined. What does that mean? I like to see it like this. There's a seed inside of you that wants to germinate. It's eager to germinate. But it needs you to place yourself in the right environment. This morning is one of those environments. So as I'm sharing words with you, there's something happening inside of you where that little seed that connects with your life purpose is beginning to get all itchy. It's kind of wanting to be scratched. And it begins to irritate you. It kind of gnaws at you. And you begin to realize that the things that you are engaged in life are meaningless. You begin to say, but that's not really what I want to do. However, I have to do it because I must make money, is the message. And you've got this contradiction taking place. Your head is saying this thing, your heart is saying that, and the two are trying to separate from one another. And this destiny, the call on your life, is going to be tugging at you all the time. It wants to keep pulling you back on course. And the more you begin to engage with it, the more excited it becomes. It actually begins to grow. But the more you suppress it, the less frequently you feel the little crappie. Is that, sorry, for our viewers, the little scratch. There's not a person in this room this morning that hasn't felt that tug on your heart. That tug that says, hey, why aren't you doing what I created you to do? It's that little pull saying, I gave you such great gifts and talents. Your time is running out. The end is near. It's going to come like a thief in the night. Hurry up. Release me. Let the seed germinate to become the tree. So when you're gone, that which I created you to do can live on and continue perpetually. So you are mandated, you're anointed, you're provisioned, and you're destined.